Here over 60 years of covering sports in the New Orleans area, multiple awards, most recently the Dick McCann Memorial Award, highest honor from the Pro Football Writers of America, for his outstanding reporting for so many years, unbiased, fair, and on point most of the time, if not always. A true gentleman as well, proud to call him friend, and he'll talk to you today about the Saints' big win, about LSU, and being #1 in the BCS as well. Please give a One Quarterback Club welcome to Mr. Pete Finney. Pete.
Good afternoon. You should have had Mike Smith here today, the Atlanta coach. He'd have been great. Boy, I tell you, when he missed, it was really, when I saw the thing on the sidelines, it was really about 2 inches to go. And the percentages of making that were in his favor. But when you look at the whole thing, what made that, I mean, a real miserable gamble is that you're trying to make a first down. You know, anything, a guy could bobble ball in it, but if you make the first down, all you have is a first down. If you don't make the first down, you got a hell of a chance of losing the game, which is exactly what happened. I mean, the ball's on the 29-yard line, and it's, you know, he'll live with that the rest of his life, but those are the things that happen, and, you know, winning and losing, and I'm glad that, well, going back, I'm glad the Saints won, because it got number 41 off the hook. He had a hell of a game, Roman Harper, and if that pass he dropped would have won the game at that time. But those things happen, and if one play here, one play there, and you can just see big plays, you make a big play, you don't make a big play, and I mean, that LSU-Alabama game was just unbelievable. And I thought Alabama was going to win a close game. And when LSU won the way they did, everyone says again that, you know, Les Miles was fortunate because Alabama missed a lot of field goals. You got to make field goals. I mean, that was no, you know, that's tough. But I think that LSU was a deserving winner, and that's how it goes. So, but if you win, you made the right call. If you lose, you didn't. So it's just. And this year, I mean, I don't think it's any different than other years. But you win on big plays, you lose on big plays, and LSU, Miles has done a remarkable job with the team, handling the quarterbacks, and but they still got a long way to go. I mean, they got Mississippi, then they got Arkansas, and then if they beat Arkansas, they got probably Georgia in the Georgia Dome. So all those things come into play. But it's been an exciting season because of LSU locally, and the Saints yesterday, that was a big win for them because they got a bye week now, and they come back after the bye week and play the 2 toughest teams remaining on their schedule, Detroit and the Giants, and at home, and so they got 4 of their last 6 games in the Superdome, so they're in pretty good shape. But still, I mean, the team to beat, you know, in the NFL are the Packers, and who I think, you know, you can always put the mouth on them, but I think they really have a good chance to run the table. Green Bay does. But you say that all the time, and teams get on a roll. But that quarterback they have, I think he's probably as good as any quarterback in the league, one of the best ever. And they've got a pretty good defense, and it's going to be interesting to see how the season works out. But I'm glad that the Saints are back in the hunt, and they were never out of the hunt, but they got the toughest team to beat to get to a Super Bowl in the Packers, so that's going to make it interesting. And LSU has a long road to go because of Arkansas and probably playing Georgia if they beat Arkansas in the Georgia Dome. So we'll see. But right now, things are looking okay. Both the Saints and LSU. Do you have any questions? Oh. Boy, I have no idea. I mean, you know, I don't know what to say about Tulane. I mean, the biggest mistake I think Tulane made way back, and I don't know how we're going to change things, was getting out of the Southeastern Conference. It's that simple. You look at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt hadn't won anything as far as SEC goes.
They won a lot of money.
Vanderbilt's a lot of money, and they've kept things going. And I mean, it's just that decision they made when they made it was a brutal decision and a mistake if you want to continue football.
Remember the man's name that got him out of the SEC? One of the athletic directors?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
No, before Rick Shaw. I can't think of the guy's name.
Don't worry about it.
But no, I thought that was a turning point of the situation. And now to get Tulane back up, I don't know what they can do. If they get a name coach. Name coach doesn't mean anything. You got to get players. And I mean, this guy could be the greatest. He could be the greatest physical therapist in the world. But you have to have you have to have players and enough players. So. Now SMU, which is a Tulane of a sort, they've built a stadium on campus. They're doing okay, but Tulane is really, you know, they've taken a hit, and I don't know what the immediate future is going to hold. I
You had a president that came from a school that didn't have any athletic program at all.
Well,
He
there you
had
go.
no feeling for it.
Well, then where are you? So
He got green hair.
yeah. You know, the sad thing about Tulane football is if Tulane hadn't had football, the Saints may not be here. Because it's because of the Tulane Stadium, the way Tulane Stadium, the Sugar Bowl, and Tulane Stadium is responsible for the Saints. So Tulane football really contributed to football in this city. But now, it's at probably its lowest ever right now.
Tell me when Tulane went undefeated in 1998. Where did that come from? Coach was been fired twice. Buddy Cecil.
Yeah, you mean bringing in the players? Yeah.
Undefeated 12 games.
But let me tell you about that. See that season? The last game they played Louisiana Tech. Tulane is unbeaten. They had more Louisiana Tech people, or as many, in the Superdome as they had Tulane. And that's because Tulane has lost generations and generations of fans. And now it's at its lowest ebb. So, boy, I don't know. I mean, you talk about rock bottom. They're at rock bottom right now. So, now they want to build a stadium. They're raising money to build the stadium. And I know if Dave Dixon was standing here today, Dave always said, he was responsible for the Super Bowl, that it's a great recruiting deal. Yeah. But the Superdome is too big for Tulane. And I think, I was never a proponent of stadium on campus, but I think that's the best way Tulane can go. But it's going to take more than a new stadium. So, I don't know what, you know.
Winning cures everything.
Of course, winning cures, sure.
Well, are they going to build a stadium for people?
Are they going to build this? Well, they say they are. And the AD says, and I think they write at the threshold to get the money. And so, but then you've got to do more than build the stadium. See, but this is a great football city. I mean, it's a great football city.
Wouldn't that be a commitment from the administration to the growth of football? Wouldn't that be some type of commitment?
Oh, sure. Oh, positively. If they follow through on the stadium, that would be a gigantic step for Tulane, positively. But it's going to take more. It's going to take a consistent commitment. So.
Hey, Peter. Yeah, I've got two questions. One about pro football and the Saints. I really see poor tackling in the pro level and even poor tackling in the college level. The best tackling I see is in the high school level, and I think it's because they really coach it on the high school level. But do you ever see the teams in the pros practice tackling? Because the Saints looked awful about tackling last year and this year. And so I was just wondering if you were able to see at practices if they actually practice tackling.
Wait, your question is what?
For the, yeah.
We came to the
Oh, do I see the Saints practice tackling much?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you know, okay, anyway. But now here's my other question.
well, you think that's their problem defensively, huh?
Well, I think yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a guy down, you can tackle him.
Well, the Saints' problem from now on, the rest of this season, is defense. There's no question about that. Defense. And they're still giving up too many big plays. Now, they made big plays yesterday to win, but defense is the problem because they blow assignments. They're still blowing assignments on pass plays and on running plays. And they got a great quarterback, a bunch of good receivers, and good running backs when the offensive line does a good job. But the defense makes the Saints kind of a suspect team right now to go all the way.
And my other question was about the BCS. I know you're a big proponent of the BCS and you don't really want a playoff, but if there's a bunch of one-loss teams at the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of people crying when they don't get in that game. So don't you think that there's a bunch of one-loss teams at the end of the season that we should go to a playoff?
I'm against the playoffs, but I'm in a minority. I think the greatest thing college football's got going for it is the regular season. That's all people are talking about. What's going to happen if this happens and that happens? I don't like a playoff, but I'm in a minority on that, and so we'll see. Now, anything can happen. The greatest lie was when Les Miles, after the Alabama game, said it would be an honor to play that team again. I mean, that's a bald-faced lie. The last team I'd want to play again is Alabama. Why would you do that? I mean, it reminded me of I'll never forget this. In 1959, the Ole Miss game, they had to replay Ole Miss. And you know what that wound up. They beat Ole Miss in the regular season 7-3 on a punt return. And then they stopped them on the goal line. And then they replay Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. 21-0 Ole Miss. So 2 years later, in Dietzel's last season at LSU, they wanted to match, the Sugar Bowl wanted to match Alabama and LSU. They were co-champions of the SEC. And they wanted Dietzel to play Bear Bryant. And Dietzel told Corbett, he said, if you want to play Bear Bryant in the Sugar Bowl, you coach the team. I'm not coaching the team. And he talked, LSU, they wanted LSU in the Sugar Bowl. So LSU turned the Sugar Bowl down because of Dietzel. And then Dietzel left the Army that season. But he wanted no part of, to play Alabama. And but all that went back to, they forced him to play Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. He didn't want to. But the last team, and understandably, because Les Miles wants to play, is a team he beat on their home field. So he doesn't want to play that guy again.
But if LSU is the only undefeated team and everybody else has only one loss, wouldn't Alabama deserve it?
It could happen. Yeah. The way the BCS thing could wind up 1-2, LSU, Alabama. That could happen. And he's got to play it.
He might have to play Oregon again.
Well, anything's wide open right now. But if I'm Les Miles, I'd rather play anyone but Alabama because you don't want to play a team you've already beaten. So, we'll see.
Pete, with this discussion about whether Tulane's going to get a stadium on campus, can you go back historically for us, back when the Dome was being built in the Dave Dixon era, as to whether Tulane was a willing participant in wanting to move downtown as opposed to the state or the city putting pressure on Tulane that if we build this new fancy expensive stadium you will play here so that we're having more than just 8 games a year. Can you give us a little historical perspective?
Well, I don't know if they were forced. I think the thing is, when they built the Dome, it was just a question of, I think that, I don't know if they wanted to, but I wouldn't see why they wouldn't at that time. When did the Dome open? It's 75. So, they just, the Dome was the stadium then, and, I don't think they didn't force Tulane to do anything, but I think that I mean, it's why not play in the Superdome? But then Tulane, when they got out of the SEC, and then it was a different situation. The reason Georgia Tech got out of the SEC is one man, Bear Bryant. He couldn't beat Alabama, so he says, "The hell with the I'm not going to play Alabama. I'm not going to play. I don't want to play Alabama." He got out of the SEC. And Georgia Tech paid for it. Georgia Tech's, they maintained a good program, but Georgia Tech's flag fell, I think, when they left the SEC. But the reason he got out of the SEC was Alabama. He couldn't beat Alabama. That's it.
I agree with you about the BCS. Never be higher on the playoffs. So I agree with you. What do you talk about the NBA lockout? NBA lockout.
Oh, the NBA lockout? Oh, I think what David Stern wants to try to do as much as he can to keep players from moving like they've moved, like the Miami Heat situation. He's trying to make it tougher for, say, someone like Chris Paul. He'd rather see the superstars stay in the markets. But that's hard to do. That's what they'd like to do. That's what he'd like to do. And that's why right now you've got, I didn't think it would go on this long, but now, I don't know. I think the season's in jeopardy right now. But I think the owners are pretty strong. The players are going to have to come around more than the owners are. And a lot of people think that's not right. But I think the owners are sticking together on this.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I do think that there is a certain, of course Alabama would have nothing to lose to be in the championship game, obviously. But I do think the psychological aspect of them losing to LSU again would be devastating to their program. You got to admit that. There would be a certain amount of pressure on them. And didn't Alabama whipped or worn out by overtime? It looked like we had finally worn them out. Do you agree with that?
Oh, listen, I'm telling you, I have never seen a deeper LSU team ever. LSU's depth on this team, I've never seen any deeper team at LSU. And you're saying wore out? I think you could see it in the overtime. Yeah. And you could see it toward the end of the fourth quarter. LSU was, Alabama missed field goals to help LSU, there's no question about that. But LSU was taking it to them at the latter stages of the fourth quarter and in overtime. And that was no fluke victory, the way it turned out. Either team could have won. But tell you, LSU's, forget the quarterbacks, those running backs, and their defensive line, they interchange guys over and over. Now they got 6 or 7 running backs now who carry the football, even in key situations. And I've never seen an LSU team this deep.
One other thing about the Saints, I don't know if you thought yesterday was well officiated, and I know the coach can't comment on that. But have you ever seen such shenanigans between when we play Atlanta? Yesterday they picked up a flag from pass interference. We had a phantom holding call again. And then they called pass interference on us. That was just ridiculous. You want to comment on that?
Well, there was a time I thought that the guy who's got a bad leg, the coach, Peyton, I thought he was going to hit the official with his cane. I've never seen that before. The way the guy threw the flag, then they picked the flag up, and I never got a real explanation on what the deal was. And no, that was a big deal there. And but those things happen. But that was the coach almost had cardiac arrest. But those happen. Those things happen. Peyton's done a good job. Go LSU, go Tulane, go Saints. What else?